This is Kazakhstan's longest train, traveling well over 3,000 kilometers across this vast country from east to west. I'll embark on my longest ever rail journey that will take 63 hours to cross the country. We'll get to experience everything that this massive country has to offer, from the country's lovely people to the food on offer at various smaller stations. This is one of the world's greatest train adventures, and I cannot wait to show you what it's like to spend 3 nights on a train across Kazakhstan. Our epic adventure starts at the Mangystau railway station, located very close to the large port city of Aktau on the shores of the Caspian Sea. The station is easily reached by bus from Aktau city center, and it drops you off right at the entrance to the station. And it's time for us to get this journey started by heading inside the station. The station is surprisingly well equipped. I, for instance, wasn't expecting to see a charging station. The station also has a ticket office, as well as a small restaurant. But that seems to be closed, at least around the time for our train's departure. To access the train, there's meant to be a security check, but it seems like they are very relaxed about this in Mangystau. The station's timetable is displayed on this very manual board, with long-distance services heading to all corners of the country like Almaty, Aktau and Atirau. With tickets already being acquired online, let's go and catch our train. Looks like it's already waiting here on platform number 1. And it would seem that this train's departure is quite the celebration. And with the mood set for this 3-night adventure, I think we are ready to board. There is a document and ticket check when you board the train, but from then on you can just head down to your cabin. And to our luck, it seems like we got a fairly modern carriage. And here's home for the next 63 hours. Doesn't look too bad if I'm being honest. Our journey begins right on time at 8 o'clock. And from here on, it's just 56 more stations before we'll reach our destination. For the first evening, we pass through the beautiful arid lands of the Mangystau region. Before catching the train, I was on a jeep tour of the region, visiting some pretty amazing sites. And the best part of it, you have basically all the sites to yourself. Our train is meant to have a dining car, which can cook fresh meals for the entire journey. But we are out of luck, because for some reason it was missing on our departure. Luckily, we managed to spot this in Mangystau, so we could grab some takeaway pizza for tonight's dinner. And as the first day is slowly coming to an end, it's about time we take a look at the route map for this marathon journey. We are on board train number 37 of the Kazakh Railway. We'll start by heading east to Sayotesh, where the clock passes midnight. Our train then continues through the night, making our way north before heading east towards Nikeltau. Our train has to change direction here, and after an extended stop, continues through the second night before arriving into Tobol the following morning. The line from here on is electrified, so we will switch to a new locomotive that will haul us all the way through the day, past the nation's capital Astana, eventually crossing into our 3rd calendar day on board this train just before Ikibastus. In Pavlodar, our train needs to change direction as well as switch engine, as the line is no longer electrified for the final segment to Semey, where we will arrive on day 3 at 11:45 after having been on the rails for 62 hours and 45 minutes. The train has covered a distance of 3,172 kilometers in that time, giving it an average speed of 51 kilometers per hour. With dinner eaten and the sun slowly setting, it was time to settle in for the night. Good morning from the middle of the dry steppe. I actually slept surprisingly well. These carriages seem to have good suspension and the beds are comfortable, but more on that later in the video. On departure, you'll receive a hygiene kit as well as a cup to make tea. However, I'm not much of a tea in the morning person, but rather a pee in the morning person. That's right, you guessed it, it's time for the toilet review. Starting off with it being out of paper, but luckily I brought my own. The door can easily be locked using this knob. The water was working, and there was still some soap left. But no towels. This is poor, but to be expected in this part of the world, so come prepared. We have many hours ahead of us today as we make our way through most of western Kazakhstan. So it's time to go and get some refreshments. Making a quick stop at one of the many platform vendors before heading back on the train. The train has plenty of stops like this, where you have a few minutes to get off and stock up. This is especially needed considering we don't have any catering on board the train. And just like that, we are on the move again. I decided to crawl back up to my bunk for an hour to watch an episode of one of my favorite shows. And I should probably show you the entire cabin. It can easily be locked using this knob from the inside only. You can see it can be configured with seats for day operation, or with a bed like this when it's time to sleep. Up here is where you'll find some storage space, as well as the controls for the lights, as well as the announcements. Everyone gets their own outlet, and there's good options for storing smaller items as well. One of my favorite features on trains in this part of the world is the under-seat storage. I don't know, it just feels really secure to leave your bag down here while you're sleeping. There's also an individual reading light, as well as controls for the audio entertainment system. In general, this carriage is modern, clean, quiet and comfortable, and has all the amenities I'd expect. I also really like how the control panel shows if the toilets are occupied or not. However, I'm traveling in the slightly more expensive second class compartments. But a majority of the train is actually made up of third class, which we'll go and have a look at now. Third class, or platzkart, is instead made up of open plan exposed bunks. This looks really cramped. But the actual bunks themselves look rather comfortable if I'm being honest. Every carriage comes with a hot water dispenser, which is great for making tea or cup noodles. And if you're lucky, you might even find some free books. In general, just walking up and down the train is a great way to kill some time. You could be fooled into thinking the train has Wi-Fi by this poster, but it's just a preloaded entertainment portal, and it wasn't working in all carriage. Cell service is also non-existent outside of station stops, so come prepared. But honestly, time passes quite quickly, alternating between watching the scenery, talking with my travel companions, and watching some content on my laptop. And soon enough, we pull into Mangystau. As our train has to change direction here, I decided to head out. But it looks like we're stuck in between another train. Well, that's no problem. You can just climb through that one as well. Ah, here we are. Beautiful Mangystau. Not long after our arrival, the other train pulls out of the station, which allows our locomotive to run to the other end of our train. And back she comes, our beautiful KZ4AT locomotive, which is capable of speeds of up to 160 km per hour. These trains are designed by General Electric and manufactured locally in Kazakhstan, with the first ones being built in 2009. Our stop here also offered a great opportunity to go and buy some dinner. I decided to get some of this chicken, and then it was time to get back on the move again. And good morning from Tobol. Our train has just entered electrified territory, so I wanted to get out and see the engine change. Unfortunately, the staff at that end of the train was not a fan of the camera. So it was back into the cabin, and we'll have to make another attempt later in the journey. As we have now made it up to the central part of North Kazakhstan, the scenery has gotten a lot more green. This also means we'll soon be approaching Astana, our largest stop on this train's journey. We run past many of the Soviet-era locomotives sitting in Astana's rail yards. But eventually the platform of Astana 1 railway station come into sight. Our train carriage basically completely emptied here in Astana and filled with new passengers, so it seems like most people are not doing the full journey all the way across Kazakhstan. The train is scheduled to stop here for 30 minutes, so my travel companions went to get us dinner for the final night. However, at this point I was really starting to look forward to get a proper meal at the end of the journey. And off on our way we went again. Near the capital, the track is in better condition and built for higher speeds. But that short section does not do much to compensate for the long station stops in tiny villages. Such as here in Mangystau, where our train seemingly is scheduled to wait for 39 minutes for no apparent reason. But this gave us a chance to finally see our electric locomotive from Tobol. This is a KZ4AT locomotive, part of the Alstom Prima family, capable of speeds up to 200 km per hour, but we'll get nowhere near that today on our journey. Eventually, we were back on the move, and it was time to go to bed for the third and final time on board this train. Good morning from Degelen station. Our locomotive was changed overnight in Pavlodar to another one of these TEP 33A locomotives. This one will haul us for the little under 3 hours we have left on our journey towards Semey. And as we are almost at the end of this marathon journey, it's time to talk about tickets. They can easily be booked online on the Kazakh Railways website. A bed in a second class compartment like this will set you back roughly 48 euros. If you want the entire thing to yourself, you have to book 4 tickets, which gives a total cost of 192 euros roughly. Considering this is basically 3 days worth of accommodation in decent comfort and transportation, I don't think this is bad value. Trains in Kazakhstan often sell out weeks in advance, so best to book as soon as booking opens. And just like that, we are now passing over the Irtysh river that runs through Semey. And I have to say, I have mixed feelings about this train. The actual hard product itself is good, the train is clean, comfortable and quiet, not to mention it's meant to have a dining car, which I think would vastly improve the experience. But 63 hours is a lot of time just spent not doing that much on board a train. And as much as I'd like to call myself a train and night train enthusiast, I don't think the night train experience is improved by staying multiple nights on the same train. It was fun trying, but next time I think I'll break up the journey somewhere in the middle. But what do you think? Would you have no issues taking a 63-hour trip on board the same train? Let me know in the comments, I'm genuinely curious. And just like that, here we are arriving into the station in Semey, bang on time to the minute at 11:45 after 62 hours and 45 minutes on board this train. This is probably gonna remain my longest rail journey ever, and it certainly was very memorable. Thank you so much for joining me on this trip. This is my final video from my trip to Central Asia, but do subscribe to the channel if you want to see more rail videos like this from where my travels takes me. I try to post a new one every Sunday. You can also follow me over on Twitter at IntercitySimon. I usually post live from my travels over there, so it's a great place to get a sneak peek at what videos might be coming to the channel in the future. Thanks for watching.